Here we go. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to a session of T'nT. We had just tried once again on the Wi-Fi. It wasn't connecting well, so we had to switch over to the computer. That's why the image isn't as sharp on the computer as it is with the phone, but nonetheless, we'll make do. Today, we have with us Tiago. Tiago is one of the seminarians for our diocese. I asked him to come chat with us today, tell us about his vocation story. Because Saturday he'll be going to the cathedral in Fall River, helping out there until a little before time, returning back to the seminary. So this is my last chance to do a little interview with him. Tiago is drinking coffee on our T'nT session, even though this is tea and theology, but we will let it slide this one time. There, see, in case you were writing, so it's T'nT, all right, for tea and theology, but nonetheless, this will work.
I'm sorry, Father.
I forgive you. We'll have confession afterwards. And so anyway, so I asked Tiago to join us. And so Tiago, how about we start with, how about just start with where you're from, where you grew up?
Yes. So I was born in Brazil. Originally, I'm from Brazil, but I have been here for 5 months, almost 6 months.
6 months, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Actually, almost 7, right? Because we're in July.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Starting your 7 months. Where in Brazil? Like, where is it located? Your home?
In the northeast of Brazil, actually. Yes, but I came from the smallest state in Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Sergipe.
Sergipe.
Sergipe. Yeah, you got it.
Okay. All right. I got it. All right. And how about your family? So your mom, your dad, you have siblings?
Yes, I have my parents, grandparents, and also only one sister,
Okay.
older sister. She's 2 years older than me.
Okay.
Yes,
How old are you?
25.
Or 24?
24, exactly.
24.
I forgot my age.
Currently, in case you're wondering how old I am, I'm exactly twice his age. I am 2 Tiagos, age-wise. So, anyway. All right. So, Tiago, how about growing up in Brazil, especially in the church, the faith? What was that like?
Father, thanks God, I was born and I was raised in a Catholic family. So, since I was a kid, I received from my parents a good example of faith.
Okay.
So I have a good memory that when I was a child, my parents used to wake up us early. I mean myself and my sister,
Yeah.
and took us to Sunday masses
Okay.
in our home parishes. So I have this into my memory,
Yeah.
and I think it helped me to realize how important it is to live our faith.
Okay.
So, and also I have another good memory. Since I was kid until a little while before coming to the USA, my parents, together with me and my sister, we prayed the rosary as a family. So
You pray the rosary every day, or was it once a week, or what do you usually do?
generally once a week,
Okay.
when you have time,
Yeah.
because my father, he works outside, so he's a police.
A police officer, yeah?
Yes, police officer. But so when you have time, we pray together the
Okay.
rosary. We prayed together, and it helped me also to learn how to love Our Lady,
Great.
to love the church, etc.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm very grateful to my parents for these things that they taught me about the faith, about the church, about Our Lady, our Lord. If I'm here as a vocation to the church, it's thanks God,
Yeah.
but my parents.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. What about so like with your parents or your sister or you mentioned your grandparents? What could you like? What were some of the examples that you used to see that you look back and say, that made me start to want to imitate it or start to do that in my own life on my own type of
Hmm.
thing? Is there anything that you like? Any of your particular people in your family that you remember things they would do and you started like imitate it in any kind of way?
Yeah, particularly father, I sorry, I would say to you, my father.
Yeah.
Yeah, my father, because he is used to do a beautiful thing every day. And when he wakes up, he goes to the kitchen of my house and he takes maybe 40 minutes praying the Psalms and he
Wow.
personal prayers.
Wow.
So it was a beautiful example because when I had, it was normal for me because I grew up looking at him
Yeah.
doing this. But when I shared this with some friends of mine, your father prays every day. It was a kind of strange for them, some
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was very beautiful to me.
Yeah. So you grow up, you think that's what everyone's doing, and
Yes,
then you
yes,
realize later, no, it's not. It's not
yeah,
what everyone's doing. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's interesting. Like my family, same thing. I mean, both my parents are very prayerful. But growing up, I thought this is just what everyone's family did,
Uh-huh.
um, until really kind of in college and even in seminary, talking with different guys who had discerned God's call and finding out sometimes the they didn't have that growing up, and so then some of the amazing ways how God kind of came into their life,
Uh-huh.
uh, with not having certain kind of experiences like you were talking about.
Yes.
So how about were you like growing up? Were you active in your parish? Were you an altar boy at that? Like, did you serve or like what kind of things did you do?
Father, when I received the first communion in 2006, I I joined the association of children in
Oh,
my
cool.
parish.
All right.
Its name is Missionary Childhood. In Portuguese, we call this Infância Missionária. And the mission of this association is to teach the children how to love Jesus, how to love Mary and the church, and also the mission to go outside and to tell the good news.
Wow.
Yeah, so I spent 4 years in that association. So it was a great help to me to persevere inside the church when I received the first communion. So was over there it when I was over there that I realized the call from God to the priesthood.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were very young when you started to sense that God was calling you.
Yes, maybe 12 years old.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
How did you? How, can you describe like how did you sense that God was calling you to the priesthood?
Yes, Father. I started to imagine myself celebrating the Mass because in my heart I think I had I don't know, a will of serve God with all my force of, I don't know, all my
Oh, your
strength.
heart. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So when I was in that association, and also I started to go to the mass not only during the Sundays but also every day.
Wow. Like
Yes,
before school? How did you do that?
after school, because in Brazil generally the parishes have mass on the afternoon,
Oh,
not
okay.
during the morning like here.
Okay.
So after school, I went to the house of my grandparents, had a coffee, and
They didn't have tea. They didn't have tea.
and no,
So sad. It's
I'm
a sad
sorry.
country.
And after I went to the mass, I
Okay.
was used to go to mass.
Okay. All right. So how about so that when like do you remember like was there any time when you started to say I want to become a priest? I think God's called me to be a priest, or was that like something you just kept quiet in your heart for a long time and then finally like
Ye-
said so?
Yes, Father, I kept this in silence into my heart, during almost 2 years, because I don't know why, but I preferred to pray and to talk to my pastor about this. And thanks God, everything worked out because I was very afraid,
Yeah.
because nobody from my family and also my friends knew about my vocation. It was only a thing that I kept in secret, myself and God and my pastor. But uh, I started to feel that I was supposed to tell this to my parents and to everybody,
Yeah.
and I did this.
How do they respond?
At the first moment, I think it was a little strong to my parents because they only have myself
Yeah.
as a man, so it was not very easy, I think.
Yeah.
But as they are people of faith, after pray, I think they understood very well. And now, thanks God, they are my big supporters.
Great.
Yeah,
And obviously, all right. So we'll get to how you came here. I mean, that requires a big support for your parents to be able
yeah,
to come to another country. But
yeah.
how about so when you like finishing what we call high school here, you decided to go in the seminary, right?
Hmm.
You applied. Your diocese accepted you. So what was in the seminary in Brazil? What was that like for you?
Father, when I finished my high school, as you said, I entered the seminary and I spent 5 years, 5.5 years over there.
Yep.
It was a very beautiful experience. We have good experiences, we have not very good experience. It's normal, but everything that I know here up now about doctrine of the Catholic Church, about everything about the church, I it's because the I received from my ex seminary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So how about so, because this is pretty fascinating, at least for me, that aspect of like for a lot of guys, they sense they're being called, and obviously there's some who are afraid to take that step. Others take the step. They go to seminary. Then they're even discerning, for am I definitely being called, not being called? 'Cause some guys will leave the seminary because they prayed more and they realize God is maybe God moved them to go to the seminary for a way of God could move them and strengthen them or form them, and then they finally realize, but I'm not being called to be a priest.
Hmm.
Most guys who sense they're being called, they stay there in the seminary. Eventually, after so many years, they eventually get ordained. What is it for you? What was the experience of actually discerning that there's something more here, that to actually leave your home diocese, to leave
Hmm.
the seminary you knew and your friends, the sense that God's calling you to go to a different country where you don't
Hmm.
know anyone? Like, what
Hmm.
was that? How did you start to sense that?
Father, I started to sense this when I was in that association, missionary childhood.
Oh, back when you
Yes, yes, because this association they teach us also to evangelize.
Yeah.
So at this point, I started to feel the call to the priesthood and also to be a missionary. You know,
Yeah.
so when I was actually 1 year ago, 1 year and a half ago, one and a
Year
half
and a, year
year
and a half
ago,
ago. Yep.
yes, I was supposed to start my second year of theology in Brazil, in my ex seminary, and I received a phone call from Bishop da Cunha asking me, first, asking me who I am and about my vocational history, and also if I was interested in come to the US
Yeah.
and to help here in this church because uh, here we are needing more vocations to serve the church here. So I realized, okay, so maybe I can do both things, be a priest and also to go outside, like I had this dream when I was a teenage in the
Yeah.
missionary
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
childhood. So I prayed a lot. I prayed a lot. I went to my vocational director. I spent 6 months thinking about this. I didn't say my answer to Bishop Da Cunha immediately when he called me. I said to him, Bishop, please, it's a good invitation to me. I'm very grateful to you, but I need to take some time to think about this, to talk to my parents, my rector, the archbishop, and also my spiritual director. And he understood very well. Okay, Tiago, you are right. So take your time, and we can later we talk more about this.
How did he find out about you?
A friend of mine, he's a seminarian in Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a religious. I was diocesan seminarian like here, but he is a religion from the same congregation of Bishop da Cunha.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be the Vocationist Fathers.
Vocation, yes,
order.
yes.
But, all right, go on. Sorry.
So this friend, he is from the same state of Bishop da Cunha as well, the state of Bahia in the northeast. And Bishop da Cunha went to Bahia on vacations last year, I think.
Yep. Yeah.
Last year, and I think he shared that he was interested in invite someone, some priest or a seminarian, to come here, to come to the U.S. to Fall River, and my friend, he knew about this.
Oh, so you had shared with a friend, you had shared with him that you had thought about this at one time.
Yes, yes.
Ah, fascinating.
I think my friend heard this from some priest in his congregation, and he called me, Tiago, do you know Bishop da Cunha? I thought, I know him. I know because I always was very curious to know about the things here in the U.S. So I knew Bishop da Cunha before he called me.
Wow.
So my friend called me, Tiago, do you know Bishop da Cunha? I thought, I know him. Yes, because he is in Brazil and he is looking for some vocation to his church.
Wow.
I thought, okay, huh? And do you know that I'm allowed to share your contact to him? I thought, okay, let's do it.
Wow. Wow.
So the day after,
Yeah.
he called me, Bishop da Cunha, he called me.
Wow.
Yes.
Isn't it amazing how, even the way God works, it's not only through our prayer, but even just like in these like through friendships, like God brings something to light through a friend or through a family member that you just don't expect. And yet then how that gets things moving in a totally different direction. Like whoever thought, say 2 years ago, that you'd actually be here in the United States, already a seminarian for a different diocese, But so Tiago he's now entering second theology. So in Brazil, he was entering second theology, was entering it. But then when he sought to transfer over, they had the seminary in particular, where we have some of our men studying. They just thought it'd be better to have Tiago to get more familiar with just the use of English, have some extra tutoring and things like that. As you can see, his English is excellent. They decided to have him repeat first theology, do some theology class, but mostly tutoring in English, where now, when he goes back, hopefully in mid-August or so, that he'll then be right along in the classes with the men who are also in second theology, which we have a couple guys there in second theology. So, all right, we're at 17 minutes. That went very fast.
Yes.
But awesome. It's just amazing. I'm amazed when someone like Tiago, taking such a trust in faith, leap in faith in God's will, discerning that this is the path God is calling him to, and taking that step. A lot of us, I don't know if we'd be able to do that. I don't know if I'd be able to do that, especially going to a land where speaking a totally different language, and English is one of the hardest languages for someone to learn because we're such a mishmash of different dialects and languages, and we have so many exceptions to rules. And so often, a lot of times, we've been chatting these last 2.5 months or so, and trying to explain with certain words, and then say, but that's an exception to the rule. And but he's been great, and it's wonderful to have him here in our diocese. So hopefully if you get a chance to get to know Tiago as the months and years come, and also we're so blessed because we do have a lot of people from Brazil that come, and that's why Bishop Cunha also in trying to discern if it's possible, could we have men who are from Brazil that understand the Brazilian culture, obviously fluent in the language, but have a real evangelizing heart, and yet also can be very much part of our diocese. It's not like Tiago's on loan. He's going to, God willing, be a priest of our diocese. And I think you can see with his faith and his joy that I think he'll, God willing, have a huge effect on many people in their faith. So,
Amen, Father.
Amen is right. All right, so we're going to finish with our closing. Where's, I got to find here on the computer. There's Frank. And so I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I had to thank my sister Jen. She had sent me a box of teas, and I have to admit I didn't know it was from her. A box came in probably like 2 weeks ago, but there's no name on it. And so when she asked if I ever received a package, I totally forgot about that. So Jen, I got the box of teas, and I'm drinking the tea today. Not all of it, because it's probably about 100 packages of different teas in there. But anyway, many thanks to my sister Jen, and I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Let's see who joined us. I can see some of the regular people here. Pam Beaver, right here. She was my sister's roommate
Nice.
back in many years ago. Many years ago. But anyway, hope everyone has a great day. We will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's a feast day in the church. It is St. Thomas, the Apostle, the one often referred to as Doubting Thomas. But yet, because of his doubting the apostles, saying that the Lord was risen, and then his great response to faith when the Lord appeared to him, it's helped us in many ways in our faith to trust in the Lord. So anyway, hope everyone has a wonderful day. We will see you mañana.
Thank you.